So hello everybody, welcome back to In 10 Years Time podcast. Me, you and Blake Way. Today we're with Commonwealth Games Silver medalist, 22-year-old 60 kg Team England, Team GB boxer Gemma Richardson. Gemma, thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Thanks for taking your time out of your day to be here, because I know it was a bit stressful getting the taxis here and stuff, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, just wanted to start. So obviously, so you were born in Lincoln.
Lincoln.
See, okay,
yeah,
right, okay.
And then at
So that's
1
why I
year
got
old,
confused.
I moved to Scunthorpe.
Yeah.
But everyone says, like, I think in the Commonwealth it was a big thing, like everything was just from. So everyone thought I was like a Lincoln girl.
Right.
But,
Okay.
So I think that's why everyone thinks.
But you're more a Scunthorpe kind of.
I'm a Scunny girl.
Yeah. Do you live?
Which
in
I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But yeah, Scunny girl.
Hey, it could be a good. I've
No,
never
I
been to
love it.
Scunthorpe, so. But where do you live now?
Scunny.
You do live
Yeah,
there. Okay.
yeah.
So you went to Scunthorpe. Was it amateur boxing club to begin with?
Scunthorpe Amateur
As a
Boxing
youngster, obviously you watched your older brother James, who's
Yeah.
also a pro as well.
Club. Yes.
What was it? So first of all, because I start with all my guests like them growing up and stuff. So
Yeah.
what was it like growing up in Lincolnshire as a scunny girl or whatever? It's all right.
I've always loved it. I think I get a lot of stick from being from Scunny, but to me it's home and I love it. And obviously with the boxing, I think that's helped me, because I think a lot of people from there, like a lot of my friends and stuff, like have gone down different paths. So I think boxing's kept me on like a good path and stuff like that. And that's all I've known since I was 6. So like I don't know anything apart from boxing really.
I'm going to ask you that later, but yeah.
But no, I love Scunny and
Nice.
it'll always be home to me.
See, I mentioned earlier your brother James is also a boxer, and then your dad, Andy or Rico. I don't know whether
his name's Andy, but
everyone calls him Rico.
Yeah.
I watched a couple of videos. I even watched the one where he interviewed you.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Oh my! Do you want to know the funny story about that?
What?
So like these people came down to interview me, and they just had like they didn't have a clue about boxing. They didn't do like any like.
Because it was like a talent like agency. Wasn't it?
But it just went completely wrong, and I was like it just was so bad, and there was like my dad like messaged me. I was like, we can't put that out. Like there was like, why don't we do it again? But what if he interviews me?
Yeah.
And like they loved it so much better. So that's why he's like hates the camera as well. But he was like, for the sake of it,
Yeah, I actually thought he did a pretty good job.
I
Actually,
think he did good.
Yeah,
Bless him.
Yeah. Follow-up questions and stuff. I was very impressed with him.
He went very professional. I was like, okay. And it was funny doing it with him. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. But you come across as a very tight-knit family. Because obviously you said that your mum's a big part as well. So
yeah, huge.
And also your brother James, I also saw somewhere, and he said he actually missed family holidays to stay back and train you.
Yeah, when I was younger, on England. But this was before I knew I was getting picked for the Europeans. Like we had a family holiday booked like a year in advance, and it was my first like Europeans, and I got picked for it. And we didn't even know that it was gonna we'd never really understood that scene, because James never got to the Europeans or anything. And then they said, you can't go on holiday. And he could have easily gone, and I could have got like other people to help me. But he said, no, I'll stay. I'll drive her everywhere, because I was only 15 at the time. He was like, I'll drive her to all these England camps. I'll stay with her. I'll make sure she trains. I'll just be there for her so she's not missing out and like being like, oh, everyone's on holiday and I'm here training. So he's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I hear that, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that is commitment.
My family, yeah.
Wish my brothers did something like that. Anyway.
I'm lucky.
Yeah. So yeah, would you say you guys are tight knit through boxing, because of boxing, or do you think you guys would have loved each other that much anyway?
Yeah, no, I think obviously like growing up, like family is like the most important thing anyway. Like from my grandparents, we always made sure we had a close like family. But obviously through boxing, it has brought us closer. But obviously it's also like the other end, like it's not always been easy. Like having your dad as your coach, your brother involved. There is arguments, obviously. Like he's my coach at the end of the day as well, so it can be like that. But we just understand each other, and we understand what everyone's going through. And my mum absolutely hates the sport. Like she would love for me and James not to do it, but if it wasn't for her, we'd have probably quit years ago. Like she's the one that keeps us going, because she's like the outsider, like who doesn't do the coaching, doesn't do boxing, but she's the one that reminds us, like when we was younger, like we are still kids, and she gives us that like childhood over the boxing, like, because we had to sacrifice a lot growing up. So yeah, we all work well together, and we are very close because of it.
Yeah, that really came across to me when I watched a few videos of you. I know you also said that when you started at the age of 6, and then you said you'd like run around a lot and stuff. You said, and you even said that I was like this annoying kid in the gym to begin with.
Yeah.
So were you like annoying in school as well then? Like were you like what were you like in school?
In school, growing up, I was this is an interesting thing. In school, I didn't speak. So for the first year of school,
Really?
I didn't answer the register.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'd be like, Gem, and I'd not speak. I'd do that really shy. It got to that point where they had to have a meeting. My mum and dad got pulled into school, and they was laughing when they told them like, Gem don't speak, and I was like, you've got to be joking. And it literally took like 2 years in school for me to even start speaking, to answering the register, which little stuff like that. So no, I was the complete opposite. Like outside of like in boxing, like. When I was in the boxing gym, I was so confident. Around my family, I was so confident. Like, I got into the gym and I was the annoying little girl, and I was annoying. Like, I'd get in everyone's way. Like, obviously, they're all like lads that are like a lot older. I was the only girl, and I was only 6. So I'd like running out of them, like dancing over him, like just doing anything to annoy him, distract him. But as soon as I got into school, it would be a completely different Gemma, and I just wouldn't speak. And then like, as I got older, obviously, I think thanks to boxing, I got more confident and stuff like that. And but I was never. I think boxing teaches you discipline, so I was never too naughty in school.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were pretty well behaved.
Yeah.
And like.
I was. Yeah. I had to put my head down because I wasn't academically. I'm not the smartest, so
right.
to get the GCSEs and all that, and growing up, like I had to try hard.
Yeah.
In school.
So that's weird. So you were more confident with older people, like when you were young, and like
it's so weird.
Lads.
Yeah, I was just always in the gym.
Was it like a
with them.
self-conscious thing of others?
I don't know if it's because obviously my dad was there, my brother was there, so I felt obviously because I'm such a family person. If my family are there, then immediately I feel more confident anyway.
Yeah.
So like going out of that and going into school, I just wasn't. But as the years got on and I got into secondary school and that, I was probably did sometimes get told off a bit too much for talking too much.
Right.
Stuff like that.
So it did change.
It did change, yeah.
Right, okay, cool.
But just at the start, I was completely different.
See, I was quiet. I was one of the quiet ones anyway, and I was in school,
Yeah.
but here I am doing a podcast. So
I know how things change.
how things change. You mentioned there about, like, you said, like, boxing's helped with, like, discipline and stuff. And then I got a quote here where you said it helps with discipline and channeling energy. So I'm guessing, is that still the same? Like, when you say channeling energy, like, what do you mean by that? Like,
yeah, so I think growing up, obviously, like, people think, you see people in school and obviously like they mess around, you see like the naughty kids and all of that. But for me, it was always, there was discipline in boxing, and you wouldn't speak to your coach like that, so you're not going to speak to anyone else like that, or I wouldn't dream to do that. And like, just, you've got to be so focused and like, for competitions and things like that, like you've got to channel energy in that way, keep the nerves under control. You've got pressure on you, you've got to control that. So I think you can take that out of boxing as well, and when you've got just stuff in general life, I think it helps, like the discipline and how to compose yourself in situations. And I think thanks to boxing, obviously, like that helps me outside of boxing as well. It's like in school, growing up, doing obviously interviews or exams or just little things like that, like people struggle with. I think I found it easier from growing up with the pressures and the discipline I had to have for boxing anyway.
Okay. So, yeah, it taught you, I mean, lots of people say this. I mean, look at Anthony Joshua. I mean, he always says, like, boxing, like, saved his life and stuff. So, yeah, I guess that is a big part of why people do boxing. I guess any other martial arts sport. So you also went to North Lindsay College. So you said you weren't the most academically gifted or whatever. So like, I was just out of interest, like, what did you study there?
This is a good question. I did level 3 personal training and something else that I can't actually remember. I got the qualifications.
Oh, okay.
But
that's what that matters.
Yeah, but if I actually, at the time, I'd have probably not done sport. I was always growing up, I always went to like childcare and stuff like that. But at the time with the boxing, like I'd had to have so much time out of college to go abroad and to the Europeans with England, do the World Championships with England, that if you tell probably like a childcare, like, oh, I need so much time off to do this, it was more understandable for me to do sport, and they'd get behind me. And North Lindsay did amazing. Like, I struggled academically, but North Lindsay really helped me. Like, when I did have the time out, and I did have weeks out going to a competition or going to a training camp, and I needed the time out, they was 100% on board with it and gave me the time out. But also when I came back, they did everything they could to help me to make sure I still got my qualifications, because that was also a big thing growing up. Like, my dad was like, you need school, you need something to fall back on. Like, obviously with any sport, you get injuries, or boxing, anything can happen, and it might end your career straight away. So he was like, you need the education, you need everything behind you as well for a plan B to fall back on. So it was always like, I've got to get good grades in school, and I've got to do the college, and I've got to get the qualifications to fall back on. So like, they really helped me, pushed me, and like made sure I was still able to achieve that as well.
You said like, obviously you had to go abroad to do competitions, and that while you're in school. Like, I've asked quite a lot of guests that, like, what's that like, balancing that with school, sport, lifestyle, like, what's it? Is it stressful? I'm guessing it must be. It
was, yeah. Especially in school, I think I was very stressed in school. There was a few meetings where it was like, Gemma hasn't completed this work, and I was like, yeah, I know, but I have to go, like, so I used to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning, train, then go straight to school, try and like stay awake all day in school, like do that, and then I'd come straight home, eat, and then go straight to the gym, and I wouldn't get until like 9 o'clock at night, and it's like, oh.
And you're doing that Monday to Friday?
Yeah, doing that Monday to Friday. And I'd have to like homework, and I'd have like coursework to do, and there was times where I struggled, and like school was like, come on Gemma, like, we're giving you this time off, like, you need to do it. Especially obviously me being not like the smartest academically, it was very easy for me to fall behind that way, and like, I needed to do it. So it was a struggle, and those days where I definitely didn't do the best, and I didn't do the homework or the coursework. But yeah, you just have to get it done. I think you've got to fit it in. I think that was 1 year, like year 11 obviously was like the main year for like the maths and English, so I only had 1 year to get through with it and make sure I just nailed down, even though I was tired, get it done. And then it was done with. And then it was always, my dad was like, well, at least that way, if you get it done now, you don't have to do maths and English in college, you can just focus on the one thing. And I think that's what got me through it. Like, I can't do any more years of maths and English, especially maths. I was shocking at it.
I was crap at maths as well. Yeah, don't worry.
I was shocking. So I was like, I just need to get it done this year, and then it's done with. And I'm so happy I did, because I could not do another 2 years of maths and English.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I was all right at English, but yeah, maths I struggled with as well.
Maths was I was bad at both, but maths.
Yeah.
Anything. Yeah.
Because at least you can like a bit of English, I guess, like the books and the stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like
Mice and Men and all that.
Yeah. Mice and Men. I did a Mice and Men. Yeah.
Mice and Men.
Good old Lenny. Yeah.
Anything with numbers now.
Obviously, you mentioned before that you did childcare at North Lindsay. Was that something you ever considered, like seriously considered doing? I know obviously boxing was like your priority, but did you ever think, oh yeah, like?
Yeah, growing up, I think like if anyone asked you before, obviously starting at 6 boxing, like you didn't think it could be a job. So like when people just ask me what I do, I was like, oh, I'd want to be like, I used to be obsessed with Tracy Beaker as a kid watching that. So I was like, that's I think that got me into it. And then my mum actually works in childcare now as well. So it was always, and I just love like being like little babies, like little kids. I just always loved that. So I think whenever I've ever asked me, what do you want to be when you're old? I was like, something to do with childcare, like something with children, like.
Oh, you didn't do childcare, sorry.
No,
it was personal training, wasn't it?
It was my dad that pushed me to do the sport in it. Like I would have done childcare, but obviously boxing is number one. So it made more sense. But looking back now and like seeing my mum obviously works in it, and all that, I don't think it would be for me.
Okay.
So that quickly changed.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't know if I've got the patience and that, and just
mess around like screaming little kids and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't think I've got the patience for that.
Fair enough. You've mentioned how busy your life was growing up, doing all these competitions and got school and you're traveling, all that stuff. So do you ever like miss that like social life of like growing up as like a teenager or whatever with your mates or going out, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Does it ever cross your mind?
Yeah, I think a lot. There's been many times like growing up, especially like when I was in school. Obviously, it's all I've known, so I don't really know what it's like to have the normal childhood as like doing everything all my other friends were doing. But it was always that fact, like, I'd miss like trick or treat, and everyone used to go out with them, like little things like that. Like everyone used to go out with their mates trick or treat, and I'd be in the boxing gym, so I'd miss that. Or like at the age where people started like having the house parties, or they'd start doing stuff like that, and I'd have to miss it. And the worst thing was going in onto the school if there was a party on like a Friday.
And they're all talking about it.
Yeah, I'd go in on Monday and I'd be sat there like, and I couldn't join in. And then it got to a point where I stopped getting invited. That hurt a bit, like, because obviously they knew I wasn't going to go. So I think sometimes that, like, it's like, I wonder what it would have been like. Or when I'm like 18, everyone starts going clubbing. I didn't go clubbing when I was 18. Like, the first time I went to a club was when I was 21 after the Commonwealth. Like a full like, and this was only in Scunny as well. So there's only like one club in Scunthorpe.
Yeah, I've never been there before, so I don't know what it's like there. But is it not popping there? Is it pretty quiet?
It's not popping.
No,
it's not popping. So I didn't even really experience a proper night out, and I don't drink either because of boxing. Like, it's never appealed to me.
Yeah. So
like I've just never needed to. But I went for my first night out when I was 21. Didn't drink, just experienced it.
You didn't drink when you went out?
No, I'm the kind of person I can just have fun anyway.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, just drinking doesn't like appeal to me. So
did you have to like look after your mates then when they were like off?
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
I've had to do that before. That's happened to me before.
Girls when they're emotional crying, I'm like, they get drunk and they start crying. I'm like, oh, not again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've seen it that way as well. Not great. So you mentioned your mates. Like, what have they done, and like, what do they think of you doing like this boxing thing? Like,
when I was younger, I think it was different because I was obviously like, there weren't many girls as it is it's a male dominated sport in boxing. And I think there was a big controversy with girls should do it, or it was very new for girls to do it. So growing up, I think some of them was like confused. I think I got a lot of remarks growing up like, oh, you won't be girly until you quit boxing, or like, oh, your shoulders are too broad, because obviously I was always training and stuff like that. But I had a few that was very, very supportive. They used to, when I used to box in Scunthorpe, like, and I used to actually get a fight in Scunthorpe, which hasn't been many times, they'd come and watch, and like they would always support me. But I think now more so, like, everyone's like, I always get the messages and like the support. Obviously I don't fight in Scunthorpe anymore, and it's always abroad, but they're all supportive. They all share the things for me, all watch the streams and watch me fight. And I think I get a lot of comments now going, oh my God, you're so lucky. Like, you get to literally do your hobby as a job and travel the world. And they're like, I wish we stuck to a sport when we was younger, because I think a lot of people start out doing like different sports.
And they just drop them one by one.
Yeah. And I think they're like, regret it a bit that they didn't carry on with the sport that they loved and could have gone, because a lot of them now are in jobs that they don't enjoy and stuff like that, or some are very successful. So I don't know, I'm very lucky, like, they still support me, and like, I don't see them often because obviously we're all busy doing our own life, but if I know I've got a fight coming up or if I've got something big, they'll always message me and always watch the streams and that, which is nice.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It's so good to have like good circle of friends, definitely.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, your family's great, but friends as well, I
Yeah.
think it's a bonus. I've asked this as well to a lot of guests, like, how do you motivate yourself as a young person? Because I saw an interview you did, you said that the hardest part is when one day 5 a.m, and you think, I'm in bed and I'm thinking,
I don't want to get up.
I don't really want
That's
to get
me
up.
daily. That was me this morning.
so how do you get yourself up then? Like, how do you motivate yourself?
I always think when I have the really hard days where it's like, kind of like, I think every sports person, maybe it's just me, but I think if anyone says that they haven't got to a point in their career, if they've been doing it such a long time, they think, do I want to do it anymore? Like, is it worth it? And like, I think we've all been at that point, like, being athletes, that it's like, can I keep doing this? Can I keep pushing myself to do this? And there's been a few times where I've been like that. I know like James has been like that, and I know like many other athletes have been like that. And I just think like I've come this far. Like, if I told that little like 6-year-old or 10-year-old when I first watched the Olympics when in like 2012, and I was like, that's what I want to do. If I look back on that little girl now and think she got that far just to give up, like, she'd be heartbroken. And I think stuff like that, and also the feeling you get when you do achieve,
when you do win,
that, like, getting that hand raised is literally the best feeling ever. And like, it's every single part of the training, the dieting, the getting up at silly hours, the not getting much sleep, the energy, like, everything makes it worth it for that like one moment.
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause like even like because this is like my major project, and like whenever I do one, I'm always like, I've fucking done that, because like I put so much time and effort into
You
it.
like to, yeah.
So yeah. What did you do in the pandemic year, so 2020? Obviously, when all the boxing gyms are closed. I mean, I didn't really. I mean, it was when I was in uni, so I didn't actually. I just stayed and did uni lectures and stuff. But so yeah, how hard was that? Because obviously you're so used to doing boxing and stuff, and it just stops like that all of a sudden.
Yeah, so I like just got into GB as well, like the year before. So like I was just getting into the swing of like camps and doing all this, and it was like, right, that's all stopping again. So I was like, oh my god, like I'm back at home with my. Like back in the old days when I was just with my dad and my brother, and obviously we've got a good team at Scunthorpe. Like my like team there, obviously there's Team GB, and then like my club mates there, and like all them we couldn't train together. So it was good for me though, because my dad obviously owns the club.
Yeah.
So like obviously if it was me, my brother, and my dad, we could still go there.
Oh.
Because we're a family, so like, it was in one bubble.
Lucky. Wow.
So it was literally just me and my dad and my brother for however long, training every night. I probably like one of the fittest I've ever been, because I was literally
just in there got
one-to-one
nothing else
attention.
to do.
Yeah, obviously my dad normally got like a full class of like squad and like to coach, but it was literally just me and James every single night, which can get a bit like lonely. Like you miss the atmosphere and stuff like that. But we got so much training with him, and like quality training that we don't normally get because he's got everyone.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I think like I got a routine, which was good. I think there was times where it's like, at the start it's like, oh my god, what do I do? But I got a good routine out. I went for my run in the morning, for my like daily walk. I did a daily run, and then gym at night with them too. And I just kept that routine going, kept busy throughout the day. So I loved it.
Yeah.
It was good for me.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people liked it because they could just play video games all day and stuff. But I guess like with you could just do boxing.
And we had Zoom calls, so obviously with GB we were still doing like Zoom sessions like twice a week.
Yeah, but these aren't as good.
It was so funny, like seeing all the coaches trying to work Zoom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they just can't. Yeah.
They just couldn't do it.
Thing is, like now, like they're happening like all the time. Like these Zoom.
Yeah.
Literally everyone doing.
Yeah. Back in the day, they'd probably be the worst. They're probably the best. Best
like,
on them now.
Yeah. Like no one.
They know exactly what they're doing on it.
Yeah. Like no. Everyone before would be like, no, I'm doing that. But now, like everyone's doing it because of the pandemic. When something that I noticed that you said was that you went into 2016 European junior final. I think it was against a Russian. And I don't know what her name was, sorry.
No, me neither, it's okay.
Yeah. Well, because whenever I watched it, you always refer to it as Russia.
Yeah,
like,
I
lost
just know
to
the
Russia.
country. Yeah, I don't know.
I did see a name on Box Record, but I thought if I just refer to it as Russia. But,
yeah.
And you said like you went into that thinking, I think I'm going to lose this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you still think? I mean, I hope you don't think like that. But if you do, explain why. If you don't, how do you change that mentality?
So I think for me, that was my first loss ever, and I'd like quite a good record, like never been beat. And obviously, like your first loss, normally in boxing, like your first loss is probably like in a sports hall in England, on a club show. Obviously, mine was in the Europeans, live everywhere. Obviously, you represent your country, so you can't like
hide.
Yeah, and you can't look bad either. You can't like kick and scream, and you've just got to take it and be respectful. But I think back in 2016, being on England, there was a big thing about boxing Russia, and it would be like, well, everyone would be like talking about you don't want Russia, you don't want to get them. If you get them, like you should be scared. So I think going into that and then drawing Russia, well, in the final, for some reason my nerves just got to me, the pressure got to me. I was thinking, I basically went into the fight and I lost before I got even in there. And I look back at it now and I think she was literally like, I could have beat her, which is so frustrating. But I think I really needed that loss at the time, because and I say this like, not at the time, it was the worst thing ever. Like I think for the week after that, I was literally like down in my bedroom and crying like it was like the end of the world to lose. But looking back at it now, and I always say like I'm so grateful for that loss. Because I think if I didn't have that loss, I don't think I maybe would have been here now. Like if I kept on just winning, I think I learned so much from that on how to handle pressure. And I think that was a big one. Like I can, like they've got 2 arms, 2 legs. Like you can beat anyone. And I think I needed that confidence to go in now, because I knew I could beat her. And I think that's changed my mindset growing up, like and going into competitions with these like girls that have got the names, got the experience, got like the like titles and stuff like that. Like it doesn't matter, because I believe in myself and I trust my training. that I'm good enough myself to beat these girls on my day.
Yeah, I guess that's a really good thing that you've changed because,
Yeah.
like the whole, I mean, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but the whole thing of like you lost a fight before you go in, like, I guess that is like a huge part. I guess with any sport really, not just boxing, but
Yeah.
I guess with boxing maybe it's different because it's one-on-one, not like a team thing. So, when you are at these tournaments, I remember you saying like, oh, your mates like, oh, you're traveling everywhere, and, you know, you're so lucky. But then obviously you're in the hotels most of the time, aren't you? Like you're in hotel rooms and stuff. So when you're at these tournaments and you're fighting like every other night or every 2 or 3 nights or whatever, like what is like how draining is that? Because you're doing intense like athletic stuff, and then you're not really going out much either.
Yeah, so I think it can obviously be draining. Luckily for me, I've been international since I was 14 years old, so like I've had quite a bit of experience now with the going abroad, fighting like day after day, which obviously helps going to a senior because that's a big jump up. But I think luckily for us, like obviously with Team GB, like you've got like the nutritionist there who can give you like hydration and stuff like that, and it's just like after your fight you've got the recovery shakes and stuff, which are a big part of it and stuff like that, and like to help you keep going. And I think the training we train so hard every day, and like we go to training camps to prepare for that as well. So I think our bodies are prepared for it and our minds are prepared for it. So it's just normal for us now. But obviously, like you come out of a fight, you're like, oh my god, I've got to go and do the same thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we're so like our bodies are so used to it.
Yeah.
Like we wake up the next day, feel like we've got a few aches and pains, or we can feel fresh, and it's just like as soon as you get into that like warm up area and you go again, it's like I'm fine. Like I can like the adrenaline takes over, the nerves come and everything like that, and you just it's like nothing's ever happened.
Mentioned your friends. One of them is flyweight Simran Kaur. Yeah. I interviewed another boxer. You might have heard of him actually, Owen Cooper.
Yes,
You have heard of him,
I know Owen Cooper, yeah.
You know him?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. But yeah, I done one with him, and he's got a mate called Jake, who he trains with. He's actually his coach's son.
Yeah.
And those two bounce off quite each other when they're training and stuff. So, is it the same thing with you and Simran?
Yeah. So Simran was the first person I met on England. So when I was 13, 14, we both won the nationals. Yeah. And we both got an assessment for England. And I remember like sitting down on this ring because I was late because it was quite far away from me and I wasn't allowed to miss school. So I turned up late and I sat down on the ring and she just turned to me and went, hi, like we're sharing a room. And I was like, okay. And then, but ever since then, like we've been inseparable. Like we've gone through everything together. Like we're legit like sisters, like we're best friends. But unfortunately in 2019, she actually suffered a head injury. So she's
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Damn.
She's unfortunately had to quit and like, obviously for health reasons.
Yeah.
Was
it a concussion? Was it like a concussion?
No, she's had it since she was born, and they just found it. Like she had problems in COVID with like, headaches and stuff, and then unfortunately she had to like quit for it. Yeah. So, but that was like obviously for her, like she was like me, like her whole life was boxing, and then such a big injury like that, and she's had to unfortunately like quit. And I think she's also now my motivation as well. You know, on days where I don't feel like doing it, I can't be bothered, I'm like, look at Simran, like Simran would do anything to be in my position and carry on throughout the sport. So I think I do it for her as well. And
someone to fight for.
Yeah, but we're still like sisters. We still speak every day. She came to the Commonwealths and surprised me for the semis and the finals, which was nice because we don't get to see each other a lot like we did before. Obviously, we were like living together on GB and like England and stuff. But yeah, we're just inseparable. Everyone used to say like, if Simran was there, you'd know I'd be like not far behind, or if I was there, you'd know Simran would be there as well. And yeah, I'm very glad to have met a friend like her.
Yeah,
and still have that as well.
When you mentioned like her injury, does that side of things, does that ever? I'm guessing that doesn't scare you off because you're still doing it, but does that always? What does that?
I think a lot of people say that, like well, you could get head injuries or anything could happen. I think any injury you can walk down the road and something can happen. Obviously you can get hit by a car, or you could get anything can happen to you in life. So I think I shouldn't let that scare me, because then you'd be afraid to do anything in life. You'd be scared to go on a plane, you'd be scared to do anything. And I think the risk you got to take is for the rewards. And obviously when it happened to Simran, if that happened to me and you had obviously you're going to pick your health over it, but there was an injury already there, but it would never stop me until obviously I got to a point where it was like, you knew about it and something was going to happen, then I'd be like, yeah, obviously you've got to pick health, but look, like, I don't know anything about my like head on. I'm hopefully fine, so I'm not going to stop doing anything like that.
fair
Just
enough.
gonna carry on.
Yeah.
I enjoy it too much.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you enjoy it, then there's no point stopping it. Definitely not. So I'm just gonna say what you've won and stuff. So youth world champs and European champs in 2018, and then European again in 2019. Yeah. And then also you got silver in the Commonwealth, and also I don't know, it might have changed. I'm not too sure, but when you did win the World Youth title, you're the second only England boxer ever.
Yeah,
I think
I was joint with me and one other girl won it. We was the first girls to win it, and then the second England. Like one of our coaches actually at GV won it.
Oh right,
Alan, yeah, he won it when he was like a youth, and then it's been that many years, and then obviously me and a girl won it at the same time, like in different rings.
Right.
So we was like the first females to win it, which for England, which was a cool achievement.
So, and like when you do achieve all this stuff, and then like obviously your mates like popping up to you and saying, "Oh, you're doing great" and stuff. Like, how do you like humble yourself as like a young athlete? Because obviously you can get carried away with it, or because I know a lot of the athletes I've spoken to, they sometimes feel a bit awkward when people praise them. Like they feel a bit.
Yeah, do you know what? This is where my mum comes into it. This is where my mum's like, at the end of the day, you're James and Gemma. Like, you're not like some like superstar. You've got a medal, but she's the one that keeps us very grounded, very humbled. And I know myself, like, I've been brought up really well to like, just because you're at the top, yeah, it's hard to get to the top, but it's even harder to stay at the top, because all you can do from being at the top is go down. So I think you've got to have that mindset as well, like, I've got to stay at the top now. Like, if I just get carried away and let everything go to my head, like, oh yeah, I've won this, I've won that, that's when I'll start dropping. So I think you've got to keep very grounded in that way, and obviously my mum's helped. But yeah, when people come, I think after the Commonwealth was a big one, like, people used to come up to me and like, I'd just be walking in Scunthorpe, I was literally walking town, people would come up to me like, can I have a photo of you? And I'd be like,
yes.
yeah, like, I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
But on message and that, yeah, I can just message like, oh yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Like, but it's when people come up to me in like real life and like,
that must be a really weird feeling.
It's
like,
so bizarre, like, so like since the Commonwealth it's just blowing up.
Yeah.
And it's just like people come like after it, like normally like you're abroad and you win a competition or you lose or you get silver or whatever, you just walk with your teammates back to the hotel, have a bit of food, go home the next day and everything be normal. So I expected that in the Commonwealth. Like, I remember coming off the podium, I put my medal in my pocket, I was with my teammate, I was walking out ready to go see my family, and I just got bombarded. I was literally there for like an hour and a half just signing autographs and like getting photos, and I was like, what the heck, like, this is crazy. And I'd lost.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like, what is going on?
Still a silver medal.
Yeah, and I was just like, I just didn't expect it. I just thought I'd go see my family, get some food, and then go back to the hotel and chill. And I just, it was just overwhelming. I just never expected it.
So, and that was all in that was in Scunthorpe then? Like, you had all those people coming up to you?
No, so that was straight after obviously I came up after the podium on the Commonwealth. Yeah. I came out the venue and I got bombarded in Birmingham. By everyone that was watching it, and obviously like I had the medal tracksuit on, so it gave it away that like I was competing in the and then just in Scunthorpe, like when I got back to Scunthorpe, I remember going, because we had a holiday booked, and I remember going to like the travel agency, and they was like, oh my God, you're Gemma, you've just won a silver. And I was like, yeah, and I was like, can we get photos for the website? And like just walking down the street, people would like come up to me, like shake my hand and congratulate me, or I'd be at home and there'd be a knock on the door and they'd be like, someone brought me flowers, and I was like, and a card. I was like, oh my God, like it was just crazy. Like, I think from being from Scunthorpe, it's so small and like
tight knit.
There's a bit of goodness, because I think Scunthorpe's got a bit of like
community.
Yeah, but like bad name for itself. So everyone was like,
I guess there's
a bit of good coming out of Scunthorpe, and everyone
I just know their football team's not doing very good at the moment.
No,
so that's...
I got invited there as well. I did.
To do what? Just to watch?
Walk around the pitch. I got a meal. Yeah, I got to sit in like the executive. Yeah, they like everyone just came together after like Scunthorpe was like really good to me, and like everyone in like the community, and obviously like the football team. Unfortunately, they lost that day as well.
Yeah.
Which they have been doing quite a lot recently.
Yeah.
But we won't speak about that.
Yeah. But you're a Leeds fan, yeah.
Leeds fan, yeah.
So but yeah. Anyway, when you mentioned like Scunthorpe and people coming up to you and stuff, and you say it doesn't have a great name for itself. Do you think like boxing or fighting in general can put Scunthorpe or Lincolnshire like on the map in the UK? Because there's bare knuckle fighter Nathan De Castro. Have you heard of it?
Yes.
Bare knuckle fighting, by the way.
Crazy.
I'm never
Not
going to
for me.
do that. No,
No.
that's crazy. And then and there was this Callum Johnson apparently challenged for an IBF world title. I think that was like in the 80s or something. But those are just some of the ones I found.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you think?
Yeah. Do you know what? I don't think it's that, like, I don't know. Like, it's got a name for itself, I think, and I get like.
I've heard of Scunthorpe, so it's not like it's completely like off the map.
No, but yeah, I hope so. Like, obviously, I think everybody wants to, if they're in like, everyone wants to do some good for their community and like where they're from and stuff like that. So, if I can have a little part of that, then yeah, of course. Like, I love Scunthorpe. It's home to me. Everyone wants to get out. Like, all my friends are like, I can't wait to get out of Scunthorpe. I'm like, I can't wait to get home to Scunthorpe.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But if I can like help boost it a bit more. Obviously, it's in a song. Is it Time Temper?
Oh, was it? I
been to Southampton, but I've never been to Scunthorpe.
Oh, okay.
So,
I didn't even know that. So
when that goes on, everyone screams. But yeah, if I can help like make it a bit better, then yeah, I'd like that.
Yeah, shouting out a Tiny Temper lyric. I guess that's the best thing.
You're gonna listen to that song later.
Yeah,
now,
and now
it's past that. You're gonna listen to it and watch it. And you're gonna every time you listen to that song now, you'll think of me.
I actually am now. Yeah. How does so obviously now you're here in how often do you come to Sheffield? And
so I come every Monday to Thursday, or like Monday to Friday sometimes, and we stay over for the week, and I go home on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how does your, obviously I'm presuming your dad still like coaches you and stuff when you go home back to Scunthorpe. So how does like, I'm interested in like how what the coaching setup is like in Sheffield and Team GB. Like, is there anything they specifically train you on? Something more than your dad would train you? Or?
So obviously in Sheffield there's so many people. We've got such a good support network. Like obviously we've got running coaches, we've got strength and conditioning coaches, we've got boxing coaches. Where obviously in like your club coach, they ain't got the money for that. So like the runs you do are just like runs that they'd give you, or like you do everything in one session in an hour. Where in Sheffield we're literally here all like 4 days a week, and we've got the full day to do like a specific session on running, a specific session on strength and conditioning. Then you've got obviously the boxing with the world class coaches. You've got different countries coming in. You've got the best sparring there. You've got the best girls at your weight, the lads. So you get that, which is nice. But also it's nice to go home with my dad and have that. There's no one knows you better than obviously your club coach, and especially my dad. Like, he knows me. He knows everything about me. So it's nice that I've literally got the best of both worlds. I've got my dad at home who I can go back to on weekends, and I've got all like the great coaches here and the other coaches and everything that comes extra with the GB. So I'm very, very lucky and grateful for both.
Because I mean, like literally, world champions have come out from Team GB. It's like I always see Team GB, especially in Olympics. I'm like, that guy's probably going to win world title in like a couple of years, or she's probably going to challenge for a world title in a few years. Or so like, is that why you think Team GB is like this constant like conveyor belt of like talent? Because it's just just a really good support network. Success
breeds success, and I think we're so lucky as well at the minute to like, we've got the pros who have been there before. So we've got like Lauren Price and Caris, who had went to the Olympics, who's done everything we've done, like the little tournaments, the building up to it, who went to the Olympics, got the gold. Obviously, Caris got the bronze, and then they've gone on to the pros now and gone on to that side of things. Obviously, they still train with us, and we train with, like, the past cycles as well. So, like, because you're constantly training, just because we didn't go to the Olympics that cycle, we was training and sparring with them day in, day out. So, like, you're getting... like, it's competitive all the time, and you're like helping each other, like just build and build and build, which I think that's why GB is so successful, because one gold medal like least and that one great boxer helps the others, and it just keeps going like that. And now they're onto the pro side. It's like when people eventually do go pro, obviously GB have got that set up now as well, and they're going to know even more about that setup, and like that's just going to keep growing now. So I think it's amazing.
It's like a snowball then, basically. It's like a snowball effect of like
it just keeps
going. So who coaches you there then? Because I know obviously Rob McCracken's like the main guy, but does he coach you?
Yeah, so he's always in the gym. He's like gives his like little input and stuff. He watches, and he's always there. But there's so many coaches we've got.
Yeah, like, it looked like a lot on the.
I couldn't even name them all. There's literally like so many, and it's just great because you get to work with each one, and each one, they've all got like the same like foundations, but then each coach has their own little things to add as well. So it's like you're just taking like information from anyone and like everyone and like improving from little bits and like building from every coach. So we're so lucky to have so many because everyone has like different things that you can like work on, or like one might spot something that one might not. So we're so lucky to have everything and from all angles.
You don't just have one coach there. You have
we have so many. There's loads.
That's pretty cool. I also saw that you said you've coached or you've done a few like little sessions in schools or gyms as well. It's like younger people. So would you ever consider coaching after? I know it's a long way away. So
I actually got injured last year, and during that time I got my coaching badge. So I still like the other day I actually ran my first ever show. So basically, obviously, like you have like club shows from your amateur clubs.
You're like a promoter?
No, so like in Scunthorpe, like so say at every club, so not GB, it's like there's loads of clubs obviously like in Sheffield, in Scunthorpe, and they have their own home show, it's called. So like you'll match your boxers up with other people and they'll come.
Oh yeah.
So like shows like that. And obviously my dad's always done it, and I've always done corner. So if he's struggling or there's coaches struggling, because in Scunthorpe it's like a voluntary one, so they don't get paid for it. So they've all got like their own jobs and it's like other commitments as well. So like they can't always go to the shows. So if I'm ever needed, I'll go to a show. So like on Sunday I went to Nottingham with a boxer in the championships and cornered him. But on Saturday we had our home show, and my dad always runs the home show. He's always there. It's very stressful. But unfortunately, he had to go away for a family thing. So he was like, Gemma, can you run the home show for me?
Oh.
So I had like the full show to run, like the weighing of the boxers, the bouts, the making sure the officials are happy. And I just want to say, I salute every boxing club coach that runs show, because it's the most stressful thing ever.
Yeah, I bet.
But I really appreciate them now. And I'm really glad I've done it, because I can do it.
So you're literally, weigh-ins as well, what, do you have to like literally read the scales?
Make sure like my boxers are there, make sure like the clubs are there on time. The officials do that, so I've got to get the officials there. Make sure the ring's up, make sure everything's wet, the gloves that they need, everything that the defib, all the medical stuff, make sure the doctor's in on time, make sure the bout's going to make, obviously there's an audience, make sure nothing's kicking off there, making sure that's all running smoothly. There's so much to it, so much you wouldn't even, being a boxer, you wouldn't even think of, because you just turn up and fight. Yeah. But there's a lot that goes into it, but I'm glad I got to experience that, but never again.
Never again, no.
My dad can keep doing that.
But like when I said the coaching, like, so you would, that's definitely something you'd consider, just to be a coach, not run shows or whatever.
But I'd love, and even that night I was obviously cornering as well. Yeah. But I always help out when I go back home if my dad needs help, and I'll coach. I think it's good to have both sides to look at a bout from a coach's point and a boxer's point, because it's very different. But after I retire boxing, I definitely would love to go into the coaching side of it. In
2018, you said, like people, and you said it a few minutes ago, you said people still only really see it like a male-dominated sport. And there might be, but I don't know about you, but I think that's really changed, like especially
so much
recently. Like that's really, really changed. Yeah. And if anything, like all the big fights now are the women ones.
And females,
I mean, the absolute palaver of Fury and Usyk. I mean, it's embarrassing. I mean, I'm not going to go into it because I literally, I get so riled up by it. But then Katie Taylor is meant to. I know, you know Katie Taylor, and because I don't know, because you said you don't know boxing, so I'm just, you know them. So so obviously Katie Taylor meant to fight Amanda Serrano in Dublin, and then Amanda Serrano can't because she's injured. And then okay, fine, we'll just put her in against Chantel Cameron, who's also the
class, by the way.
Yeah, but like that's still a mega fight. Yeah, like they're both still undisputed. Yeah. So instead of Amanda coming up to Katie, now Katie's gonna have to go up in weight to Chantel. It's like,
but the girls just want to get it done, and that's what I mean. Like, the girls just want to get get it done. Yeah.
I just think the women are taking over boxing.
Yeah, I agree.
Just all like the big fights are just happening. I just don't know, and it's the same promoters. Like Eddie Hearn is Katie Taylor's promoter. Yeah. It's like it's the same promoters. So I don't know whether men, it's like, oh no. splits, 60,
Yeah.
40.
No, not the girls. They just want to get in there and fight.
Yeah,
Put on a show.
I rate that. Like that's why I respect.
Yeah.
I respect the girls in boxing at the moment, not more than men. But yeah, so why do you think? Do you just think it's changed just because girls are just you don't give a shit?
Yeah, I think obviously like 2012 wasn't even that long ago really, and that was like the first Olympics for the female. So I think since then I've seen the big change where Nicola Adams obviously won. A lot more girls was looking up to her, and then as it's gone on, obviously like there's been more females in just joining the sport. So that's produced as an amateur. The more I remember when I first won my first national title, there's only 3 girls on. Now if you go to a nationals, every bout's a female. So obviously with more females in the sport, there's more fights happening, there's more sparring happening, stuff like that, which is improving the females. Yeah. So as it's going up, there's just improvements constantly, which is the quality of boxing for females is getting better, which is just drawing more people to it. Obviously you've got the fights like Shields and Marshall and stuff like that, which people are loving. Karis and Lauren are a big one at the minute, like from the Olympics to pros, and they're smashing it.
Natasha Jonas.
Yeah, Natasha Jonas. She's just won an award the other day. Yeah. So like, it's just blowing up for female, and I think so it should. Like, it's about time, and I think these next few years, it's not going to be like male boxing, female boxing. Hopefully, it'll just be boxing.
Yeah, I want that as well, but at the moment, it's quite hard to like. I don't know.
Yeah,
just, So you've also said how Stacey, Copeland helped a lot, and then I also saw like you said like she'd help you like. Did she take you to like fights and stuff?
So I remember watching her, and my dad was like, "Oh, what's this like?" She was on. I think she was a senior at the time, and I wasn't, because there wasn't many girls in the sport. So I would always be watching the lads or like watching the lads train, and she was like, "There's a female," and he got in touch with her, and she was like, "Right, I'll come to the gym and I'll meet her." And she brought me a belt, and I've literally got a photo of me holding this belt, like, oh my god, and like she did a session with me, and it was just amazing. And I think she really inspired me and to want it even more. Now I've obviously got like a female figure, and she gave me a world championship top from when she went to the world, and she was like, "You're gonna have your own one day." And obviously I went and got a gold and a top, which really mean a lot. But yeah, I literally travelled to Manchester all the time to spar her, to train with her for weekends. And then she got in contact. She was like, "There's a training camp in Ireland," and she went to my dad. She was like, "Can I take Gemma? It'd be a really good opportunity for her." So we was like, "Yeah, of course." So like we met at the airport. She took me to Ireland, thinking it was a sparring camp and was just going to be sparring. Yeah. Next thing, we're in bouts, and she boxed Chinese Taipei, and I boxed Canada. So that was interesting. We went for a training camp, and we ended up. I rang my dad going, "I'm fighting in an hour." And there's like a full-on referee and like everything, like a bout list, and we literally just turned up with our training kit. Yeah. We got to this venue, everyone's in full kits, everyone's warming up, everyone's taking it serious. There's medals, and I was just like, "Stacey, what have you brought me to?" But it was literally the greatest experience ever, and I loved every minute, and we had such a laugh on that trip, and it was just stuff like that. And she does so much for women and like paved the way. Yeah. So I'd love to be like her, and I think I want to give back as well, because that really helped me growing up.
Ex-footballer as well.
Yeah,
like, she's literally like,
she's just
crazy.
Great. Now she has like a radio show, and she's just smashing it.
So what have you taken away from her to apply to your lifestyle?
I think it's like the humbling thing as well. I think they're never too much for her to give back to people. She'd make it her mission to go to clubs, like different clubs, and visit clubs with her medals, and like inspire the next generation and push for women in sport and push people to get involved. Not even boxing, just general sport as well. And I think she did that for me, and it helped me so much. Think, I want to be just like her, and like inspired me more and motivated me more. And I'd love to do that. Obviously, I go to schools now, and when I can go to clubs and try and like inspire the next generation of girls. And I think that's all come from Stacey, and I just want to keep being like her and keep pushing it, because I know what she did for me, and I'd love to help others do that as well.
When I was like researching her as well, because you mentioned her quite a lot, I was like, fair enough.
She's amazing.
Yeah. You've always said Olympics. That's a huge goal. Obviously, a couple of years in next year, in Paris. How much are you preparing just for that now, even like with a year away? Because I'm guessing you are, because that's obviously like such a big thing.
This is a big year. Obviously, the qualifiers start this year, so there's tournaments coming up, and there's lots of tournaments. I think I had obviously with the injury last year, I missed out on so many fights and tournaments. So I'm just trying to get as many tournaments as I can, get back into the flow of boxing, get the experience, hopefully get picked for the qualifiers. And then so it's a big year, just keep focused and keep trying to push towards them.
So I'm sure you know, but obviously boxing in the Olympics is a bit under threat at the moment. Like, I mean, they're going to be in Paris, so you should be fine.
Yeah.
But the ones after, I think 2028 is Los Angeles, I think.
Yeah.
Obviously, because the IBU is under a whole lot of trouble at the moment with corruption, referees and all that stuff. So with the fact that it might not be in the Olympics after the next, like, what do you think about boxing the Olympics? I mean, it's obviously got you involved, but what is it about boxing the Olympics that's so important in like the system?
For me, like, I think you see Olympics and you see it's like a big stepping stone anyway for the pros. I think you see a lot of the pros that went to the Olympics and got like the medals and stuff, like it set them up in that way. But also Olympics, I think it's a big one for everyone, like the Commonwealth, like they're the two you really want to do, and obviously Olympics is even bigger than the Commonwealth. And for me, ever since watching the 2012 Olympics with like Nicola Adams and that, like since being young, that's all I've wanted. Like that was a dream. It was never pro. It was the Olympics. So growing up, like...
See, that's really interesting because I know a lot of people just think, oh, world
pro,
champion.
Yeah, and
but
they do.
It was just the Olympics.
It was just the Olympics. And obviously, like one day, when the time's right, I would like to go pro and try out that and see what I can do in that. But since being young, I've always wanted the Olympics, so I won't want to change that now. I'd want to try and like get that and then obviously move on.
In that funny interview with your dad, he said, "Oh, I felt that was when you received an uppercut from Savannah Marshall."
Yeah.
He said like she did a really good uppercut on you. And obviously everyone knows she hits really hard.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, out of interest, is there anyone else who sparred like that as notable as Savannah Marshall?
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to spar quite a few actually. I think
obviously at GB, you know, it's pretty good
obviously
as well.
Lauren and Caris, I sparred them.
Yeah.
I was literally sparring Caris like the other week, which is great opportunity and great experience sparring them. But Terry Harper, have you heard of Terry Harper? She's obviously not far from me, so I've sparred her a few times. Natasha Jonas.
You sparred Natasha Jonas? What was that like?
That was good. I sparred her when I was like 15, 16. Chantel Cameron. She hits hard. Savannah Marshall.
She hits hard.
Yeah. Georgia O'Connor. Caroline Dubois. Obviously, I've grown up with her.
Yeah.
Like we was on England together from
there's a picture. I saw a picture of you
so
together.
obviously I've sparred her throughout the years. Like we know each other really well and got on. Georgia O'Connor. I've sparred like most of the girls that are like in the pro scenes now, which is nice, and it's good experience, and
that's really
nice
good.
If you're like, oh, I've been in the ring with her.
Yeah, especially people like Caroline Dubois and obviously Natasha Jonas, they're keeping at such a high level.
Yeah, exactly. It's so nice to see them go off and do like so well in like their like chosen path now.
Have you ever thought, I didn't do that bad actually against them?
Yeah, I think we've had with all of them. I've had like tasty spars, like spars where like back in the day people were like, oh, should girls? I think if you watch them kind of spars, it's like, yeah, girls should be doing this. Like, they're great spars and like great competitive or like great just to work on, like help each other like improve. And that's what it was. I remember like me and Caroline sparring all the time, obviously in GB, and the coach would be like, this is what improves you both. Like one day coming in and just building on each other and like being that competitive and like helping each other, and that is what improves you. So I was lucky enough to be surrounded by all these people that I've helped improve me, and obviously me help improve them as well.
So you said like in that thing with your dad, or you're not really interested, you don't like watch boxing.
No.
But you know but you do know boxing because you know all those female fighters.
I know, obviously, yeah. So if I know them, so like the girls, obviously I know them, so like I will take an interest.
But you know who Amanda Serrano is, but you don't spar. Like,
I know who Amanda Serrano is, but
she is
can I tell you I'm going to watch every single one of her fights and I know exactly what she is like? No. Like the lads, like.
So would you watch Katie Taylor versus Amanda? You'd watch that, wouldn't you? Katie Taylor versus.
I'd watch it. I'd watch it, like, but I wouldn't be the person that's like, right, we need to make sure it's on TV, like.
Oh. Really?
Like obviously I come from a boxing family, so like my dad and my brother normally always have the boxing on the weekends when it is, and if I'll be there flicking on my phone, flicking on TikTok, I'll look up every now and then. So like, I'm in the loop with it.
Yeah.
But to me, I won't be like, yeah, let's turn the boxing on. I just don't get the point of.
But you do it. I just...
Yeah, no, I just don't get why you'd want to watch two people hit each other. I don't get the fun in that.
But you do.
But I like being hit and hitting. Yeah, it's weird. But I think if you worked in Tesco You're not going to go in Tesco, are you, and watch someone stack a shelf?
No. Yeah, but that's
You're
working
not,
for
are you?
Tesco. That's
You're
working
not.
for Tesco, though. That's
You're
not
not, are you?
boxing.
So I think I do it that often. I'm like, oh, I don't really want to watch two people hit each other. I just don't get. And then it's like when I watch like the big
UFC?
fight. No, don't have a clue about that.
Oh, okay.
MMA, no, nothing. Like I just don't know. I just don't know why. I just don't enjoy watching it.
I just can't go.
Like I feel like everyone goes to these pro shows and wants to go to these pro shows, and like,
Yeah.
no, not me.
Because I've actually never been to a pro show yet, but I'm going to one to see Owen. Actually, he's on the undercard.
Yeah.
In Telford next weekend.
Yeah.
I'm so pumped for that. I'm literally so excited.
Yeah,
But to you just
no.
just wouldn't. No.
No, I don't even like watching my brother, and he's my brother. But I think that's different because I don't want to see
You
like
see him get hit.
yeah. But like these big shows where it's like big headliners and everyone's like paying loads of money to go.
Yeah.
Oh no, not for me. That
Fair enough.
I don't know why, but yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will be like, what the?
I think it confuses everyone. And do you
Yeah.
know what the worst thing is when people ask me like, what this box is like? What do you think to this box? And I'm like, I've never watched him. I've never heard of him. I'm like, and like sometimes I'm like, oh, I have to just act like I know who he is. But yeah.
Gemma, you've been an amazing guest. Thanks so much for coming on today. One more question. I ask this every guest. You're 22, yeah? Are you 22?
21.
21.
21.
Terribly
It's
sorry.
okay.
So sorry.
It's okay.
I always ask people that like their age. Like honestly, I get it wrong like 99% of the time.
No, it's fine.
So obviously 21. It's March 2023. Fast forward yourself. Just pretend 2033. You'll be 31, 32. I know that seems a long time away, but so yeah, where would you like to see yourself in 10 years' time?
Hopefully with an Olympic gold medal.
Yeah.
And also that's hopefully a few world titles in the professional.
Yeah.
And hopefully, how old will I be? 31?
31, yeah.
Hopefully settling down and having some babies because I want a family.
Cool.
I'm a family girl, so yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Well, Gemma, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.